Okay, so welcome back to this week's training vlog. Not as pretty as Dara's, not as interesting as Dara's. Well, maybe it depends on what side you're coming at. Great work by Dara, that 5:22 mile. We were kind of talking about it, and I was like, you just fucking need to go run a mile and see what happens and see where you're at, because he's kind of like, you know, for three weeks or so, 3.5 weeks out, depending on when he decides to do it. And I was kind of like, look, you just fucking, you've been dilly-dallying, like, just run a fast fucking mile and see what happens, you know. And I think, you know, it turned out incredibly well, 5:22. Because I wasn't seeing him running, and the splits don't really mean much until you kind of do it. Well, they do mean something, but until you run the mile, it was interesting to see where he ended up. But it's, I was so happy, and the squad is going very well. So it's definitely going to be tough, but I can't wait to see what happens on the day. It'll be it'll be great. It'll be so much, it'll be such an event. So back to my own training. So last week I mentioned I will make a decision based on how my knees progress for the following week. So up until this point, on what I'll do with my next training block, or what will I do with my block. Will I just keep going again, or will I restart? And good news is, well, it's all good news really, to be fair. So knees have progressed massively. So huge improvement in my knees. I'll still probably need another week of kind of tentative training where I'm not doing something fully stupid. So basically up until last night, actually, I couldn't back squat without knee pain. So every other movement was fine. Back squat and front squat wasn't as bad sometimes, but back squat with 70 kilos still caused knee pain. And like, we're talking like not kind of like a little bit of achy knee pain, like we're talking like if I tried to squat meaningfully, we were looking at like 8 out of 10 knee pain. So pretty significant knee pain only at 70 kilos, which previously, well, it was there, I suppose, until I backed off, but it was accumulating to that point anyway. So a lot of knee pain on back squats. Snatches were fine, clean and jerks were fine, everything else was fine except for basically strict squatting for some reason. So I, lucky enough, I got in touch with Aaron, and he suggested warming up with, well, actually two different things. So I got in touch with Aaron. He suggested a different kind of hip opener, so one with a kettlebell. You lean to the side. That hit a nice, really hit the spot in my hips. Then the second thing was he suggested warming up with the single leg touchdown. So I don't know if you've seen the way he does these touchdowns. So they're not like pistols, they're heavy emphasis on glutes. So if you do them properly, so your leg goes way out to the side, knee travel is absolutely minimal, and it's hips back all the way, so you get a really strong glute pump. So he recommended warming up with those. So I warmed up with those yesterday, and then we ended up with 140 kilos for just like 2x2, but I was so fucking happy. There was no knee pain. So hopefully things will keep progressing as well. Essentially the right side is almost fully pain-free. The left side, the tendon feels slightly, it feels kind of tense or tight, but it's not painful. So I'm very happy with that. I'm so fucking happy. So in regards to what will I do with my training block, essentially on Thursday, I just kind of made the decision that, you know, I'll have to start the training block again, which is probably where I was headed, but I just need to think about it for a while and be smart. So it's going to be back to some lighter volume for a little bit. It won't send me back that much. It's far better to be in good shape and then be able to progress hard and train hard, you know, because I wasn't able to train as hard as I wanted to, or I could have, and more importantly, as hard as I needed to progress my lifts. So back to lighter volume on Thursday. Just triples in the snatch. Got a little clips of those. Hang clean. So I pushed the hang clean for a little bit for a few weeks. So high rep, like 3 reps in the hang clean, but they feel really good. So it helps me stay in contact with the bar, and it's something I need to work on for my clean. So pushing those. Really focus on the last few nights as well, is like maintaining a better back position, which is something I don't typically have in my lifts. So my snatch, my clean and jerk, my back position can be a little bit lax, a little bit rounding my back. So it's not that my back is weak, it's just I wasn't in tune with how my back should be on the lift. So I wasn't keeping them tense. I wasn't specifically keeping it tense throughout the lift, which is even more important. So sometimes I get tense at the start, but I'll lose that position. My shoulders will be slightly hunched, which is not a good thing. So I was working on that at lighter weights. It's me really focusing on. And once I focus on it for long enough, and I'll keep pushing it, hopefully it'll become subconscious and I won't have to do as much, but it feels a lot better when I do it, and I can feel the difference, especially through the above my knee to my hip position. So it looks from here on out, it will be, next week will be somewhat tentative. I'll just keep it smart. I won't be going back doing high volume squats because there's no need to. So my squat is still quite strong, thankfully, regardless of the knee injury. So I don't need to go back to 6s, 8s and 10s like that. I'll keep it to 3 to 5s. Mostly to keep it's safe for my knee, but also because as much as I don't have to do those again, I probably only need to do those for another couple of months, probably the block after this. So just keep the squats strong. I don't feel like I've lost too much after 2 weeks. Typically I don't need to squat a whole lot to keep my squat strong. To progress your squat, it depends on the person, but it's, for me, 2 weeks of not really squatting won't make a huge difference to me ultimately. And because I have to start again with a new GPP phase, it's good to desensitize myself to those squats as well and take a step back. The 260 is very good. I know I could have squatted 270 no problem if I hadn't exploded my knee essentially. So right now I'm pretty happy with how things are. I don't think I did anything significant, just some heavy deadlifts last night, but overall this kind of thing happens all the time. I'm certain it's almost certainly going to happen again, and hopefully I'll be better able to read the signs earlier and get on top of it. It feels kind of weird that it was like in 2 weeks I've progressed massively, because the knee pain was there. Essentially it started at the end of last August. Yeah, August, September time. So the fact that it's drastically reduced so much over the course of the last 2 weeks is very reassuring. But if someone was making a movie, it wouldn't be that epic, would it? It'd just be like, and so Owen stretched these hips for 2 weeks and he didn't do anything stupid or too stupid, and here we are, and his knees are better. So I'm pretty happy with this, I'm not gonna lie. So what will training look like, say, over the next 4 weeks? As far as I can tell, it'll be threes for some of the snatch, some doubles, reasonably light. I will be doing the same amount of volume. I might, so I did a little bit behind the neck jerks on Friday night, and they feel really good. They've always felt very good because they're an easier movement for me. I'd like to do something pretty heavy with those. However, bringing them down, I'm really skilled at bringing the barbell back down, right? But even still, they still are murder on your knees sometimes. So I'd see if it makes sense to push those. I might push them for like 3 weeks, just a little bit, like just literally 3 or 4 weeks, and see how they feel. They're a good way of just training the dip and drive, the jerk. I will push the hang clean a bit as well. I don't really want to change the straps of those, so I'll try to keep it hook grip, but I do like letting go of the bar in the turnover, so I'll see how that goes. Front squat, the squats will stay. I'll go to front squats by feel. I'll just try to get back up to, maybe in the next week, up to 200 for a couple of triples in the back squat, and then I'll let the front squat carry itself and see how that goes, just making sure I'm not hurting myself. Snatches and low hangs will be the primary movements I'll be doing. I'm not sure if I will re-add the high pulls for a bit. And then in the clean and jerk, it'll just be the hang clean plus jerk. Reasonably heavy deadlifts because they're feeling quite good, and I feel like they do help my clean. And then just regular old clean and jerk volume. So all of the good stuff. Nothing will be particularly crazy, but I'll start proper vlogs again with that, and you kind of see how the training goes and see how it looks. So it'll probably be something like 2 weeks of volume. So obviously, given that I'd done a fairly intense GPP phase a little bit more than 2 months ago, I don't really need to kill myself for this. This isn't so much to build, well, it is to build a little bit of work capacity, because that does kind of come and go pretty fast, but rather it's just to kind of desensitize myself to some of the heavier weights and the slower movement, practice a little bit of speed, so like 70% lift, 75% stuff, do a lot of reps with that, hone the technique a bit, and then gradually gain some nice momentum again. Honestly though, I'm pretty happy with how things are. Do I want to train hard all the time? Yes. Was it nice to not do something for 2 weeks and see productive results from it? Absolutely. So I'm very happy. I'm very lucky to have people like Aaron to contact, and I have people like Fitz to talk about with my training, and I've met a lot of great people over the years to kind of help educate myself. So I'm very confident. I was very confident going to the last training block at the start of this block, essentially, where I'd end up. So I've no reason not to be just as confident again. Sure, stuff like this will happen again. Hopefully you can learn a little bit about it from me and not make the same mistakes. The biggest thing with injuries, and we'll probably make a separate video on this, but just for people who watch my vlog, the biggest thing to do with injuries is your body will always let you know. And sometimes it might let you know like literally 2 years before you get injured. It's, in my case, this was brewing for a long time. Your body will let you know if something's going to get injured, and you don't even think about it. I don't need to give you details on that or extrapolate on what that might be. You'll know if something feels like that once you train enough. You'll know if something's going to become an issue, and your body will give you enough incidences, and it'll give you enough hints, and things will be sore enough for long enough before that you go and look at it. I promise you, last August, well, 2 years ago when I clean jerk 190, I should have looked at my knee. But last August when my quad tendons were tightening up after training and very tight before training, that's when I should have gone, around September as well, when I kind of hurt my knee on the 170 clean and jerks. If anyone remembers back that far, a lot of you might have seen the channel from then, so I won't go into it. But that's the point where I should have been like, this has happened twice now in 2 separate years where I've hurt my left knee from clean and jerks, and I didn't pay attention to it, and I just rested, and the pain went away, and I went back training again like a motherfucking dumbass. So the best thing you can learn from training is your body will let you know if something's going to get hurt, and I beg you, please pay attention to that, and you'll save yourself so much strife. You know, be overly cautious when it comes to injuries. Train hard, you know, train like your life depends on it, but do your prehab and rehab and pay attention to what's happening. I'm very excited. Thank you for watching my vlogs. I know these haven't been the most exciting, but at least you get to see what's happening with them. So I'm ready for the new block. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.